Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach, and you may at this point be wondering what in the world am I doing? So, little quick backstory. About a year ago, we got these guys. Actually July, so it hasn't been fully a year just yet. These are our Jersey mamas. That is Daisy, and that is Flossie, and they are our family milk cows. Don't necessarily need two, but we have a whole concept. Back there, if you can see, is old Hank, the little one. He's a mini Hereford bull. And then beside him, if you can tell, is T-Bone, an Angus Jersey bull. So we had two things that we were gonna do when we got this cattle for sustainability. We wanted the milk. Dairy is our thing. We have dairy goats and we now have dairy cattle. We think dairy is a huge, huge sustainability piece. So it was a lifelong goal that we had. My great-grandfather was a cattle and tobacco farmer, and it was something that when the time was right, we were ready for cattle. Well, we got this new land, and we were starting to think about it, but cattle wasn't in kind of the radar just yet. I had started searching up prices, trying to find the breeds that we wanted, and such like that. Well, our awesome friends over at Little Feet Homestead, Kim and Don, they were selling their cattle. And it was like one of those things, they're close to us. It's exactly the breeds that we want. We might as well jump on it. Well, we got even more excited because with T-Bone, he was an Angus Jersey bull. So the thought process was we would have our mamas that you just saw, Flossie and Daisy, that would provide us the milk, but their calves would be Angus Jersey calves that we could raise for meat or sell if need be. But it kind of gave us that dual breed concept. So we were pretty excited. I was a little nervous about having bulls back, or male intact animals back on our farm. We have not had the greatest luck, especially with goats when it comes to goat bucks, in the past. It was one of those things that we were just basically gonna rent a buck, which isn't completely sustainable. Don't get me wrong, you want a buck if you can. But there's things about bucks that maybe you don't know. And I kept saying bucks, but really just any male intact animal that you're looking for to be your breeder. They have all kinds of different personalities. There's some that are great and calm, and that's the ones you want to pay good money for and keep on your farm. There's a lot of them though, once they hit that teenage years and get a little bit older, that testosterone that they have pumping through them can actually make them very angry. And that's unfortunately what happened to us with our goat buck. He became really, really angry to the point to where I couldn't even have the children around, and he even tried to kill me multiple times. We caught him Charles Manson. So here we are, 2 bulls later, we have decisions to make. So T-Bone started out as a very good bull. He started out really great, calm, was one of the more friendly ones that we had out of the four cattle that we do have, but then the light switch flipped. And by a light switch, I don't mean mean. He never got mean, even though you can kind of see it in his eyes. He wasn't obeying the fence whatsoever. Now, some could say, well, you weren't ready, you put up electrical fence, this and that. Well, here's the thing. The other 3 cows that we have, 0 issues. They've never broken out. They've trusted the fence. They've respected the fence. And when it's hot, they stay away from it. T-Bone, on the other hand, will take the shock and go. So we had really 2 options. Because here's the thing that you all don't see on film. There's multiple times I'm having to come out and get him back in the fence or repair a fence or whatever it may be to get him back in there. It's one of those things when you are on a farm or a homestead, you have a lot of projects. And when you have to take an hour to get a cow back in and then another hour to fix the fence that they just broke, that blows your whole day because now you're just worrying about this cow. So we were up to 2 options because we were not going to have him on our farm. And I know you may think, well, you could train him. Listen. There's personalities and there's traits in a breeding stock of animals. So if we bred T-Bone, his offspring, which he is, got the ladies pregnant more than likely, because Daisy's really starting to show, that rolls over into their calves. So you want a good bloodline, a good breed line of animals that you want on your farm, or you're having to sell or you're going to butcher. So 2 options for T-Bone, selling or eating. And so I know sometimes that's hard for people to like comprehend that, especially because he has a name. I do need to remind you of what his name is. But it's one of those things in our farms, we knew that T-Bone was either going to end up being ate or he was going to become our breeder, depending on his personality style and his breed line. So we have decided we don't want to sell him. We want to fill our freezers because we wanted beef. And so why not go ahead and get it started now? T-bone is intact, and so you might think, well, can you do that with a bull? Yes, you absolutely can. It's not like a boar pig, because that will taint the meat. You definitely don't want that. However, a young bull like T-bone, he's only about 18, 19 months old. He can still be cut up in all the cuts without having any tainted meat. Your biggest thing with bulls as they get older is the meat gets tougher if they're intact. So a lot of people will just ground them up for hamburger if they've, lived out their life, done their breeding, and it's time for them to go. They'll usually just do hamburger. So we have decided that's the best for T-bone. Now, how do we get him in to the trailer? So we don't have a corral for cattle like some of you might have seen in cattle farms. Our buddy Ben and Andrea over at VW Family Farms, they have an awesome cattle farm set up. They have corrals that are set up that you can back trailers up to. We don't have that, but we do have this barn that looks an awful lot like a chute, don't you think? So I've got the trailer here. I still got to do this. I still got to get it tied up to where he can't go anywhere but the trailer, which this is a 2-horse size trailer. I know we need a bigger one, but we hauled all 4 of them 2 at a time in there. One will be great. So I put the cattle panels up on all of our stalls here so he can't go over there. The whole goal is to have one chute, one path to go, nothing else. So putting the cattle panels up over here, I'm still working on over here. I got to put one more there. But then it'll be separating him from the rest of the group. Shouldn't be too bad because they're right here, and I've got a little gate for my electrical fence on the other side of this cattle panel. Hi, Flossie. Good to see you too. So I'm going to take this cattle panel down. I'm going to put it here, and then I'll do a separation feed. Basically, it's a little trick of the hand. We'll feed over here. I'll keep the other ones back while somebody else helps T-bone come over to eat. Then I'll close the gate, feed them. Might be easier said than done. Cattle can sometimes be a little stubborn, but for the most part, that's the plan. And then we are going to keep him in here for one day, and then he'll be going in there, and we'll head to the butcher. So if you've been around for a while, things don't normally go the way I said they're gonna go. So we've done a lot of pigs, we've done a lot of goat moving, we've done horse moving. We did get them here. Fingers crossed. You're gonna see in this video. But I gotta finish this up. It is Sunday while I'm doing this. Probably Monday we'll move him. Then I have to get out of here by 6 or 7 a.m. Tuesday morning because he has to be at the butcher at 8. So you'll get to see all that. Are you ready? I've got the setup done. As you can tell, we got our hallway right here. And the goal, the next step now is getting him separated from everyone else. But I have a plan tomorrow. I'm gonna take that top line down because the girls, I think, will respect it. I'm gonna try to see if he'll just step right on over in here. And then I'm gonna seal that off to keep him to where he can't go back and forth. We'll see. I should mention both of these doors are reinforced with T-post. And that one over there I got tied up. So once he is in here, he won't be able to come. And we may get lucky because he's super nosy. He may slip on through them electrical lines without us even trying. All we gotta do is get through tomorrow. Get him over here. Get him in the trailer. Now I'll see y'all tomorrow. T-bone has decided he was ready to get in the trailer as it is, so I'm gonna go try to get him on in the trailer. Get up in there. Get up in there. Get up in there. I wasn't ready, but I couldn't get them both. I'm back. What?
Which rope is very handy.
Rope is very handy. I'm back. So, we have gotten T-Bone officially to the butcher. Appreciate your help, bro. What? Just order now? Tell you what. So it went, all right, so it was crazy as soon as we pulled up, or walked up here. T-Bone had done busted the line, which I was kind of thinking he might, and I was like, hey, that might be a good thing. He might go on already in there. Well, I don't know how, I'll have to see when I'm editing, so by the time you see this, you will have already seen it. But he got in, but he wasn't all the way in. And so I got one door shut, and I had to push him and try to get the other door shut. Well, when I did that, it was a lot for me to handle in that rush situation. And he busted himself back out. Thankfully, I'm fine. Like, he didn't hurt me or anything. But he went back in there. But curiosity, you know, got the best of him. And he came back out. So that was very easy to then walk him on in. Y'all saw me, I just yelled, was big. The whole point is being bigger than him, loud, wide open arms, staying wide, and then walking him on in there. From there, I had Jen set to close the door, and it was a lot easier. And then we got in there.
Just like getting Mama Pig to our house.
Getting Mama Pig, yeah. It was a lot easier than getting Mama Pig. If you didn't hear about that story, that was a long time ago. That was a wild one. But I'm going to take a breather because it's stressful. It's a stressful time. We have a small 2-horse trailer, which you all saw. I would much prefer something a lot bigger to move cattle around in. Hopefully one day. But for now, it did the job done. It's just every time they move, you can feel it move, you know, and so you're nervous driving. You want to get there and get it over with and get back home. And that's where we are now.
And if you remember that video of Mama Pig, then you have been watching us for a very long time.
That's right. That's right. All right. I just got done giving everybody the evening chores. We're doing some water. Then we'll sit down and chat. Okay, it's the next day, and it's sometimes important on these big, I don't necessarily want to say a goal piece, but a very important part of our farming adventure and our farming goals is complete. You want to sleep on it.
Yeah.
Gather your thoughts, get all the things, because you're going through a lot of different emotions. Excitement, sadness, like proudness of moving forward. So that's what we did. We had a nice night chatting about the day's events and what went down. And we wanted to share to you all why this is so important for us and for anyone that's wanting to get into this lifestyle. So at the beginning of this video, I mentioned how, why the logistics piece of T-Bone, like the 2 options that we had as farmers on what we was going to do with him. But we wanted to break down a little bit more of the emotional piece of this. First off, farming in general. When we got into this, we wanted more than garden. We are meat eaters. We wanted to own our food, and we wanted to have ownership of what was put into our food before we ate it.
And take responsibility.
Yes, and take responsibility. We feel that, like a lot of you all, the food system is broken. We're starting to see that, right? With the supply chain issues. And so that was something that we wanted to do. We wanted to start with the garden. We crept in with chickens. We moved to pigs. And now we have cattle that we're also getting. Beef was the last piece of meat that we didn't have. Now, do you need these to just live? No. You can live on the bare minimum, but to have what we think of sustainability, there's 2 levels. The sustainability of just surviving and the sustainability of thriving. And having beef is something that's in our diet, and that allows us to thrive. So I want to make that a goal for you. If that is something that you're wanting to do, if you're trying to get in this lifestyle, don't just count it out that beef's off the table for you. It was off the table for us 5 years ago too. Now here we are 5 years later, we're about to have a freezer full of beef.
There's also that middle option of if you want to take ownership and responsibility for what you're eating, if you do choose to eat meat, but you can't yet grow your own meat. A lot of people take participation in farm shares, and they buy a cow together, and then everybody shares it or splits it up, and those are really good options too. It lets you to take it to that next level of ownership and responsibility if you can't yet get to the level of raising your own. It's crazy to me that we're finally there. It's a big accomplishment, but that doesn't make it easy. We talk about that all the time. If this is your first time here, do not think that we take any of this lightly, because we don't. And that's from butchering and raising our own chickens to pigs all the way to now beef. It's a very big, important thing for us to be responsible of it, but yet still get a handle on it emotionally and be able to process those thoughts and feelings. And if it's not for you, then it's not. But it is for us because we choose to eat meat. We do supplement with ButcherBox sometimes. However, I think at this point we might be cutting that out this year, and that's awesome.
Seafood, maybe.
Besides seafood, we might just get ButcherBox for seafood because we are getting sustainable on pork. We have Mama still in the freezer. We're raising out Bessie for our next pig. We are raising our own chickens. We have 50 coming soon that will probably hold our family for the whole year.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have beef. So it's just, I don't know, it's a proud moment. And sometimes when you are on a public forum, those proud moments can get kind of weighed down by the opinions and comments. But we know that most of you all get it. And if you don't, just try to open your mind a little bit because it is important. It is emotional. It's hard, but it's worth it for us to be able to go to our freezer and know that we raised something ethically and it had a wonderful life, and we don't have to go and have to want and not be able to get that source. And like I said, not everybody can raise their own, but there are options that you can buy into if it's something you're interested in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's even places where like you can go to the farm and like watch the cow get raised, right? Like if it's somebody close to you, so you actually see it, you can see if it's sick or if it's been treated well and stuff, and really know where it's coming from. So yeah, like I said, definitely an option. Okay, so you can see the pantry behind us. Like right here is turkey. So we do a lot of canning of our meats. In a couple of videos, you're about to see us canning some pork butts that we have and roast because we're trying to clear out some freezer space for the return of T-bone. So we'll be filling up this even more. You also know that we're in the pantry challenge, so this is part of that. As we're taking, we're adding. So we have quite a few empty jars that are sitting up here at the top. Our goal is to fill them up and just keep restocking that. So our goals for our farm, the next step, what's next? Because we're not there yet. You're never there, but we have an immediate next on what we need to figure out. Now that we are raising the animals, by the way, like we harvested T-bone, but we have calves that are, we're pregnant mamas right now. So depending on what they have will depend on what our next beef cattle will be. Anyways, we're still relying on a butcher at this moment. So our next step as a farm is to be able to start butchering these on our farm. So just because you have them and you're sending them off, you want to make sure that you're getting the right cuts. You want to make sure you're doing it right. So we've always had the dream to be doing that here. We've met a couple of local people, especially pig processing, that are very master pig butchers. And I know some of y'all that may have done this, been like, oh, it's no problem, just go for it. You're right, but we, as a farm, like to walk through it hands-on with someone that knows what they're doing before we tackle it ourselves. We've harvested deer before from hunting. But if we're going to put all this time and effort into an animal, we want the cuts to be right. So that's what we're going to do for our next go moving forward, is to be able to do this ourselves.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's also kind of scary.
Very scary. But I can tell you one thing, it won't be near as scary as hauling that daggone cow down the road about an hour away to the butcher. They're so big animals, and you have to be ready for their weight. And we were, but it's still a stressful time once we got him out.
Something we haven't gotten used to yet.
Yeah, hauling livestock is something that I am not the biggest fan of. It's just it's not like a bed flying off your trailer. It could be a cow, and that's
obviously that's worst case scenario.
Right.
It's just worst thoughts that go through your mind.
Right, and like when we had Mama, she was low, right? So like it was different. She laid down. T-bone just circled. Stop moving. So we hope that you enjoyed this video. Hopefully that you got some tidbits or some ideas on how to do it. I can tell you the one thing that if you're new to this, is just getting them in trailers. Figuring that part out. Make sure you do the prep work. Don't just chase an animal. It's never going to work. We've tried it a million times. It don't work. You need to make sure that you have some kind of funnel to get the animal into the trailer, and that's the only path they can take. But you're gonna fail. Like you just are. It happens, and you learn, and you get better every time you do it. But other than that, we can't wait for T-bone to get back to us. Once we do, we'll show you all, so you can see what a full cow would look like. Because that's important too, because they normally sell like quarter, half, full cows. So you'll get an idea of what that actually looks like meat-wise, if you are looking to buy that. But other than that, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure to do down below.
We love you.
Until the next one.
Bye.
Bye.